We will work together, unwillingly at first on your part, but that will pass.
Never.
In time, you will come to regard me not only with respect and awe, but with love.
Never.
All right, everybody, welcome to MovieStrange. Drew, how's it going?
It's good. How are you doing, Ralph?
Drew, I am very excited. This movie, I had it in my laser collection. Didn't know I had it until you showed me the words. Let me show the words from last week. These were the words from last week, okay? The ones I picked. I don't want to show the other because I'm just too. I want to get into this.
What are those words? Uncle Al before Skynet?
It says Al or AI.
Oh, no.
Nuclear AI before Skynet.
Yep.
Okay? Great reference, okay? Because that's all Terminator, whatever.
Yeah, it could be before, honestly, another 25 different movies and names and characters.
I think this movie spawned a lot of movies, I'm just going to say. And the movie that I picked that you threw at my feet is called Colossus, the Forbin Project, okay? And until you brought that up, I forgot that I had it. And right here is the Laserdisc. You can see it's a
nice
double feature.
Double
feature. Mm-hmm. I'm going to think with Silent Running, Bruce Dern's Silent Running, and then there's a
fine
Forbin
film.
Project. And then you add the fact that it's directed by Joseph Sargent, who directed my favorite, which is the whole purpose of this podcast. One of the purposes, Taking the Pelham 1, 2, 3. And I just...
One of the best thrillers ever made. Still today.
Clean thriller, and this is the thing about this film. We're going to get into it. It's a little dated, obviously, some of the technology and stuff.
It's not dated, Ralph. It's vintage.
Vintage. Some of the acting.
Vintage technology.
Could be. All right. Tell me the film we're talking about. And I will show some posters, and we will talk about some of the details.
So the movie is called Colossus, the Forbin Project. It is the first main leading role for Eric Braeden, who people may know as Victor from All My Children for the past 900 years. Eric Braeden is actually in two of my favorite sci-fi movies of the era. He's in this, and he's in Escape from the Planet of the Apes.
Right.
And this movie came out in 1970. It's based on a novel called Colossus. There was at least one novel that followed it. I think there was a trilogy. I've never read any of them. I read this movie. Oh, you did?
Well, I as I go down the rabbit hole, there was a trilogy, books, not movies, but a trilogy based
by
on
D.F. Jones. Right.
So
I've always been interested in this movie, and then a few years ago now, Shout Factory, under their Scream Factory horror label, they actually put out a very nice Blu-ray. The film looks great. There's it's a lot of DNR, so some of the film graininess is a little smooth, but the whole movie is just its tone, its approach to the story, which is quite apocalyptic. Everything about it, I would say, is understated, and that's good, and that works. Yeah. Because a lot of this movie is people looking distressed while they talk to giant text screens, and it sounds like it shouldn't be that interesting, and it's a really compelling movie about something that we've seen in some science fiction writing and movies before, and definitely in science fiction movies for the past 50 years since then. So
I didn't realize, but the DNA of this film is in a lot of films. So let's show the trailer.
Okay.
And we'll talk about it on the backside.
This is the dawning of the age of Colossus.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Dr. Charles Forbin. In a few moments, Colossus will address us directly.
This is the voice of world control. I bring you peace. It may be the peace of plenty and content, or the peace of unburied death. The choice is yours. Obey me and live, or disobey and die.
The frightening story of the day man built himself out of existence. Colossus, the Forbin Project.
It's making you a prisoner.
Shock, horror, suspense. Created with all the technological brilliance of 2001, A Space Odyssey. Colossus is the ultimate in sophisticated computers.
I'm going to try to convince the computer that you're my mistress. And that therefore I have to be given the opportunity to see you regularly in private. That way we can pass information back and forth. 4 times a week.
Well, that he negotiated that down. He started much higher.
Good night.
Look at that. I mean, some of these shots are just amazing. Susan
When do you
Clark.
think you'll be able to attempt the overload?
I have to talk about her a little bit
Sees
too.
all, senses all, knows all,
Oh, yeah.
controls all armaments and all defenses. When this emotionless creation becomes the master of man, the result is catastrophic.
The Supreme Council of the USSR has ordered as of 2300 hours Moscow time tomorrow the activation of an electronic
JFK
brain exactly
slash
like ours,
Nixon.
which they call God.
Great
They
hair.
built Colossus, supercomputer
Crazy
with
ideas.
a mind of its own. Then they had to fight it for the world.
The missile has just been launched. It is heading towards the Cyan-Sibirsk oil complex.
Guardian has retaliated.
Retaliated.
It may be too late, sir.
Oh my God.
Listen, I got to say right now, I have never been this charged up about a film on any of the podcasts that we have been doing.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Something hit me just right on this film. Couple of things.
Well, let's just make sure we're very clear what the movie is, what the story is. It's very simple.
We're going to spoil it. Came out in 1970.
Well, I'm not going to give away the ending or any of that.
I
will
think
talk
I'm
about
going to
that.
give away the ending because it's 1970. I mean,
That's fine. I'm not. It's just a question of giving people a chance to watch
Okay.
it. Essentially, America has built a computer called Colossus, and that computer will take over the Pentagon's duties and protect us. So this movie is a fear of technology movie, a Cold War movie. Excuse me, all this different stuff. And of course, what happens is they turn on the computer. It discovers on its own the Russians have a similar computer. They join up, and it's perhaps the best way to prevent war is to prevent people. And that's the movie, is these computers become one and become an existential threat. And the human characters, including Eric Braeden's character, Charles Forbin, hence the Forbin Project, is going to try and stop them. And it's just great. It's like a dry Dr. Strangelove, which is not a criticism. And it's part of a tradition, and in a way, I would say, from the beginning of all sorts of movies, from Terminator to WarGames, Failsafe, By Dawn's Early Light. Like, there's just a huge amount of movies because this ties together at the nexus of all these ideas, and Cold War movies, all kinds of stuff. So I am thrilled that you not only enjoyed it, but that you really got excited about it.
well, you're amazingly articulate. Thank you for that, because I could never describe as well as you just did. But the DNA of this film is in everything. Okay. Now it came out after 2001, A Space Odyssey, because the Universal didn't think it was going to do anything, and this was the original computer that turns on the humans. HAL became, obviously in 2001, HAL became the famous computer that said, humans, I got to change everything because humans can't handle it. I'm going to deal with everything. This is this show. This is the movie that did that first, but it came out after. Came out after.
I don't know if I mean, the movie's not forgotten. I think it's appropriate for us to talk about because it's very underseen. It's, as you saw, because you love movies, you've never seen this movie. You've heard of it enough to own it and had never gotten around to watching it. And then, of course, that's how I've described it to people when I've recommended it. I'm like, you don't realize how much of this movie you've been watching for the past 50 years.
Have you ever seen WarGames?
That's not bad. Yeah, of course. I mean, it's just
It's
it's
the grandfather to
incredible
WarGames. I mean, it's unbelievable.
With the control room and the missiles and Joshua's voice and all that stuff. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I don't know what I just honest. Okay, so I mentioned in the trailer a bunch of things. Susan Clark, number one. I don't know what it is about that woman.
Cherry Forever.
Now, Cherry Forever is from Porky's, right?
Yep.
There's some other movie she's in that I think she plays an Olympic athlete or something. Something about Susan Clark from my childhood just resonates with me. I don't know what it is. So I see her in this film, and on top of it, she's playing. Okay, we got to get into a little bit because the computer is starting to take over. Eric Braeden, a.k.a. the first German, according to one of our other guys on another podcast, this is the first major role for a German actor in an American film, is what he said.
Well, his name is not Eric Braeden. His name is something very, very, very German.
Right. He changed it to
He's a
Braeden.
German guy.
Right.
But he had started his career playing Germans,
Nazis.
in World War II.
Specifically
movies.
Nazis.
Like he was in specifically Nazis. He was in like Rat Patrol and a bunch of other stuff. And this movie was going to be Charlton Heston or Gregory Peck. And the producer basically said, I want somebody new in this movie. And that ended up being Eric Braeden. And he wasn't even named Eric Braeden until they said, we want to put you in this movie, which is a huge movie opportunity for him from Universal Studios. But you're going to need to change your name, which I believe the way that story goes is he said, no, I'm not going to do that. And his wife said to him, I think this is something that you need to do because this is the beginning. And of course it was the beginning. I mean, he's then basically been working and acclaimed for, up to today.
Wow.
So it's, and you look at the other people in this movie and I always mispronounce his name, which is funny that I say it enough to say I always mispronounce it, but Fulmar Blankstead is the editor and he cut one of my favorite Westerns, Rio Bravo. The costumes are by Edith Head, who only has 8 Oscars. Like, there's a lot of big people in and behind this movie, and it made Eric Braeden's career. But it's what I started to say before is it's kind of been lost. It's not nearly as well known and as popular and influential as 2001, of course, which is fine. And I guess maybe because it's not as visually striking. It's not as spectacular.
No, it's very simple. It's that
movie
matter of
like
fact. It's a little.
2001.
But here's the thing. Okay, it's clunky
flat.
because it feels a little. But Joseph Sargent, which is what I love about Taking the Pelham, the naturalism in this film, like it doesn't feel like what I hate about old films. What drives me crazy is you can feel the acting, right? I'm an actor. This one doesn't.
Is very contemporary style to us. Yeah,
This has got a very contemporary. It's even got the guy from The Rookies. I can't remember his name. He has a major role.
There's
in
a lot
this
of
film.
familiar faces. Yeah, a lot of familiar.
So there's a lot of people in this. Susan Clark. I mean, and I learned how to make a martini from this film, which I'm just thrilled by.
So did Colossus. Yeah,
Colossus learned a lot.
You have to say that part of
Colossus
the way the
is the
story
computer.
goes. Colossus is the computer. Colossus gets turned on. He discovers Guardian, which is the Soviet equivalent computer that nobody in America knew existed, and they connect, and they become,
have their own language.
let's say, fast friends. That's the thing. Like, it lays out these dangers that are very real, and the way that the movie works is these computers start talking. And they start solving things. Like, they start solving scientific and mathematical problems that humans have been working on for decades or centuries. And it's both what a positive thing. Like, literally, we're watching science progress in front of our eyes, but also that's pretty powerful stuff what they're doing. So that power of it feels real. And then the fact that they write their own language to communicate with each other, which is a language that then we, the humans, cannot interpret. They have found a more efficient way to communicate with each other. That's not completely unrealistic. There's a thing with Facebook AI labs that's not really what happened, but it's the idea that computers change how they talk to each other to become more efficient at talking to each other. That has nothing to do with how we talk to them. I mean, that feels very, very real, and it's full of vintage technology and vacuum tube looking machines, and it feels way ahead of its time in terms of what these computers can do.
Well, we'll talk about the whiff of fascism that comes up at the end of the film, but
is that just a whiff?
Not a whiff. It was a full blown blow in the face. 2001 introduced the iPad. Okay,
right.
If you remember that, this movie introduced Zoom calls. because the whole movie takes place with the president of the United States, who looks like Kennedy's hair, but he acts like Nixon, flipping these computer terminals around, and they're on Zoom calls. They're literally, at one point at the beginning of the movie, he's on a Zoom call with his crew who's playing pool and having a party, and they're literally, it's like what we're doing right now. All right, so you get that. The whole, like the fact that Colossus is learning things, and Eric Braeden, okay, there's obviously the undercurrent is Frankenstein, and they even bring up Frankenstein through the whole thing.
They do name check that film.
He created a monster. He knows he created the monster, but they're still trying to control the monster. And every step of the way, the monster's going, you can't do this. Even when they think they've done it, the monster literally is saying, we're going to kill 2 people now because you guys went overboard. And if the line I love is obey and live. That thing kept coming up, obey and live.
Well, you have to also remember that this, and again, this is, it's crosses of several genres of movies. And one of the things that's the most emotionally resonant, I think, for audiences then and for us now, anybody, like, the Cold War is over, the world is different, but I grew up, under that, the Russians have all the nuclear weapons, all that kind of stuff. And this computer is the existential threat that it is because it controls all the nuclear weapons.
Right.
And so through the whole movie, the Colossus is basically saying, you have to do this or I will destroy millions of people.
Right.
And it can do it. So what the big plans are as the humans try to conceal their communications with each other, they start talking about, like, we have to have personal human contact.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about how Eric Braeden, Forbin, figures out how he's going to be able to communicate with other humans under the radar. And how does he do that?
It's gonna involve female nudity. Because he's
slight.
A scientist,
it's through a wine glass, but still sexiest. This is one of the sexiest movies. I'm not.
It is sexy.
It is weird. It's so sexy the way Sargent shot this thing. So what happens is, the Forbin decides the only way he's going to be able to communicate to the outside world is to tell the computer, I have a mistress. By the way, mistress, I guess, was girlfriend back in the 70s, whatever.
Right.
And I need to be with that person 4 or 5 times a week.
Yeah, you see that in the trailer. How often do you require a woman, says the also, keep in mind, this is another thing. Until the very last section of the movie, talking to Colossus is Eric Braeden saying something to somebody else who's typing it in.
Right.
Or Eric Braeden saying it, and then there's a microphone picking it up.
Right.
But the computer responds with written text.
Right.
So it's pretty ominous when literally a scoreboard-looking thing lights up, and you really believe that humans are going to get nuked.
Right.
And only at the end does it get a voice.
Well, the line comes up and says, "I just missile attack."
Right.
Just launched a missile. That's it. That's all he says. 607 seconds. That missile's going to hit Moscow. That's why failsafe. I kept seeing failsafe in this thing.
Oh, sure.
And the negotiation between Moscow and the United States, the president. It's many things are popping up. So back to the scene where he negotiates with the computer.
Dr. Markham is
Susan
Clark's character. Mm-hmm.
But Eric Braeden has to negotiate with the computer about how many times a week this woman can come to his house and pretend. Now the computer doesn't know he's pretending to be his mistress, but he goes. The line was, "How many times do you need?" I know you want someone here 6 nights a week.
Yeah, how many times do you require a woman?
So they negotiate on 4 times a week.
Right.
And they say there's other parameters, but we don't see that. The viewer doesn't see that until she comes over, pretends to be his mistress. This is where I learned how to make a dry martini, which I was just loving. Holy cow, I never knew how to do that. And then the whole point is they have to get completely, you have to go to bed like you were born, completely naked. The computer's allowing them to go into the bedroom. Once they go in the bedroom naked, then he'll shut all the communications off. And then there's this scene where she's giggling in the bed because they've put one over on this giant computer and they're able to communicate information back and forth. It's such
because Colossus follows everyone's activities by He has cameras. I say he because it comes off as male, but it has cameras everywhere.
It has cameras.
That's
right.
actually comes up in the movie. Somebody says, no, it's an it.
Right.
It has cameras with microphones everywhere. And so a lot of the tension in some of these scenes is people doing something that they don't want the computer to know what they're doing, and they look at a camera, and the camera's looking back at them, and all this stuff.
Well, you
And so
remember that
the
famous
deal
scene in
is the camera,
2001 where they are in the
The lip
capsule,
sync, the lip reading.
the lip
Yep.
reading,
Yep.
right? So they're
Yep.
worried about. This is before 2001 too. So this
before
came out
2001.
before that.
See, that's the thing, is that they make a deal with Colossus, Dr. Markham and Dr. Forbin, and basically saying, let us have privacy to have sex, although we'll secretly be plotting against you. And the cameras in the room, they turn off. You see the red lights go off. I mean, I guess they believed it. I don't know that you should really
Well,
supposed
I mean,
to
in
think
the
that
context of the
Colossus
film,
isn't listening,
right?
But the whole point of the success of this computer, they designed it to outthink humans to protect us from things we can't even imagine. So the computer is always at least one step ahead, and to a certain point where there's a plan that the humans pull off that succeeds. And it's exciting to watch it. Again, you're watching it on the Zoom, basically.
Right.
But it succeeds. And then the computer is like, by the way, I knew you were doing that. And
Boom.
I let you do it. And so
there
I'm
goes
going to kill a
California.
million people. Yeah, I mean, it's
It's
great.
Like, yeah, there's no, yeah, but I just loved what they did in that scene where the way Sargent shot the scene, right? They're doing the martinis, they go on the bed naked, he's shooting through the glass, so you're never seeing any, and it was sexy as hell. I can't get over it. And it brought up my whole Susan Clark thing I had when I was a kid, was just flooding with me. And I'm like, oh, this Eric Braeden, holy cow, I know he's been in a soap opera forever, but and he ends up being in Titanic because James Cameron, obviously this film, Terminator, is this film. I mean, the DNA in this film is in everybody's stuff.
This is proto Skynet for sure.
Right, it's unreal. And then let's talk about the ending. I mean,
spoiler alert.
It's spoiler, but 1970. Okay, hang in there, but it's devastating.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because it's fascist. It's fascism. I'm watching this thing going, this is what, and I hate to bring politics into this stuff. No, I don't. I like
this
to bring
movie is a little
politics into this
political.
stuff.
It's enjoy.
The stuff this computer was saying, it might as well have been the guy in 2016 who was saying, I alone can fix this.
Right.
If you let me handle everything, I'll take care of everything. You guys just sit and hang. And that's what this computer was saying. And the computer wasn't lying. And every step of the way, these humans tried to circumvent the computer. He goes, you know what? Nice try. And it got to the point where it's like inevitably they couldn't do anything. And the computer knew it. The computer knew it, and even Eric Braeden knew it at the end, even though he kept saying never, never. The computer never argued with him about that. He just kept saying, here's what's going to happen. Eventually you're going to love me because I'm going to take care of everything. There'll be no more war in the world. You guys, freedom doesn't really mean anything to you. You think it is. It's just pride. That's what he said. It's just pride. It's just pride.
Right.
Holy crap.
Well,
I mean,
it's hard to be credible, human or machine, as a benevolent despot that's going to have total control but take care of everything, when you've already launched nuclear weapons and blown up nuclear warheads and all that. Like, he doesn't really care what you think. He's ready to exterminate you. And so
no, he's not benevolent. He realized that
No, I'm saying he's saying, like, I'll take care of everything and you're nothing, just do what I say. It's really not that complicated. That's the benevolent part. But the thing is that the movie ends, I think it's a nice mix of hopelessness and defiance, because this computer clearly has won.
Where's the defiance?
Everything
him
that
saying
it
never?
wants
Was that the defiance?
Him saying never. Because the computer isn't just saying do what I say. The computer is saying, literally, you and I are going to make me better.
Right.
We're going to design
it's
new
your
machines.
Brain
And he says never. So I mean, if the movie continued for another 10 minutes, I don't know if he would have been more enslaved, if he would have taken his own life.
Well, the computer would go find his family and kill his family. The
right.
computer
look
what they did to the Russian, his Russian
There's
counterpart. His Russian counterpart, his equal. they go on a meeting in Italy. I think they have the meeting in Italy, and the computer decides that, you know what, we don't need that other guy.
Right.
So if you don't kill the Russian counterpart, I'm going to nuke Russia. Moscow is going to be leveled. Shoot him in the middle of this meeting. Otherwise, I mean,
well, that's because Colossus and Guardian are the two computers that find each other at the beginning. But during the course of the movie, Colossus announces, "I've basically absorbed Guardian."
Right.
So it's just
we're
me.
one. We're one. No, he said we're one.
Which is very practical. Like, you know, not only do I not need a counterpart for this guy who created me, Colossus, I can use that. I can use his existence one last time, you know, tactically for me. I mean, the whole part is that the computer is supposed to be so brilliant and making itself more and more brilliant, and that is believable. The way that it conducts itself, the way that you think that you're manipulating it and it's outthought you, it's totally believable. It also has a lot of personality. When it launches the missiles, it really comes off like a petulant child. You know, it's like it's a merciless manipulator. It's a cranky, tantrumy thing. It's got a lot of personality.
It develops eventually
for something that's just text lines.
Yeah, but towards the end of the movie, it develops the voice. They created. He made them. He made them build the voice.
He makes them build his voice to his specs. That's right.
And that scene where he shoots the two guys, he assassinates the two guys, and says, "We're going to leave them out there for 24 hours, and then I'll cremate them after that."
Yep. So that's exactly what you do in fascist regimes.
Right.
You not only kill people, you leave them up as a warning.
And this came out in 1970, right?
Yep.
Definitely the president was designed around JFK. The hairstyle was JFK. The CIA guy who's on every 70s movie and TV show ever made. Even the guy, there was a guy, the general, who was the one subverting the missile stuff. I've seen him in a bunch of stuff.
Colonel. Yeah, he's been in a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
Drew, I don't know what this. I'm so charged up about this film. It's almost, it's weird. I don't know why. And then I went on the trailers from Hell.
Oh yeah, John Landis.
John Landis did
likes this movie too.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people, and you know, obviously James Cameron does. He put Eric Braeden in the Titanic. The DNA is all over this thing for all these films. I think more people should see this. And it blows my mind that it's been sitting in my collection. And the only reason I watched it is I picked the 4 words that you threw at me. And I never would have seen it otherwise. And it drives me crazy. I don't know. You know, it's just.
Well, to me, this is, you know, we watch a lot of different stuff and talk about a lot of different stuff. And you do have some agency in choosing what we watch, of course, but I really try to find something that not only have you not seen, but a lot of people might not have seen or even heard of. Yeah. And this is a really good movie, but it's also such a underappreciated piece of movie history, really.
I think so
and
too.
Storytelling,
I think so too.
contemporary storytelling, everything. It's a great.
I think so too. And part of it is when you told me Joseph Sargent directed it, it kind of piqued my interest because of my love for
he's a
my love for taking
a Pelham 1, 2, 3.
And you can see that in here too, because like I said, it's very naturalistic. It doesn't feel staged, and even the scenes where they're trying to get away from the computer out in the woods and they're talking about how the planning they're doing, because they feel like they're always being, and they're always being watched. It's just, it hits all my vibes, which is naturalistic filmmaking, 70s filmmaking, Joseph Sargent, and Susan Clark.
In color.
I don't know what it is about her. She just drives me.
What it is that she's gorgeous, and
and you know what she was playing? She was playing a strong woman. And
she's credible as a scientist.
Right.
Yeah.
And she knew she had to do this thing, this such a subterfuge, this lying to the computer that we had an affair to get naked. And they knew that they were just doing it for science and for humanity, and that ultimately they fell in love because, you know, what do you got? It's a movie, so you got to do something. But
yeah,
just all the things.
Look, this movie is so successful that it does the way it covers the character's nudity in that scene where they enter the bedroom.
It's unbelievable.
Is the joke that Austin Powers uses when they're covering their genitals and breasts
with the watermelon,
except. Yeah, which is very funny,
right?
And it's a clever sight gag. This is literally the same thing,
right?
But it's not a sight gag.
Not
it's
at all.
just it preserves
They
a
hint it.
modesty,
She pulls.
but
You
it
can see her
also
pull her
they're-
dress off. You get a hint of something.
But they're so
But-
vulnerable in the face of this terrible machine.
But it's
really,
also
the
what
whole
the
thing works.
computer's looking at. He put us in the line of what the computer's seeing, trying to figure out.
Yeah, we see its point of view.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't understand that, shooting through I don't get why does he care about having to have a woman in his house 4 nights a week? What's this all about?
Yeah, I don't get it. The computer
Right?
thing.
It's right. The computer's like a 5-year-old child probably, or a 12-year-old child trying to learn everything. And he kind of, in his Eric Braden's character, Forbin, figured out how to circumvent this thing that he created. He created this thing.
Well,
and he felt guilt at the end.
figured it
Like
out.
Frankenstein, he was like, look what I did. I created this monster.
it
And
is
like
his
all
fault.
70s films that I love, it did not end on a happy note.
No, it sure didn't.
It was confusing, frustrating, not happy. Now, I guess in the sequels, which are books, there's 3 of them, I guess. He sort of gets control, and they get it back probably. Who
Well, I
knows?
don't know
But-
anything about where the story goes. I do want to find out. I know that the second book, the next part of the story, and I don't know how faithful the movie is to the first book. I know it's definitely thematically and stuff that it's quite close, but I don't know about the plot. But I think the second one is called The Fall of Colossus, so that gives us an idea
hint.
that maybe they're able to turn things around. But yeah, it's.
But
It's
you
good
can't.
stuff.
You can't. You look at it. You go WarGames. You go Failsafe. You go 2001, and Terminator. Just go down the list like you were saying, and it's all in there. The DNA is all there.
Yeah.
And yes, it's a little clunky. You look at some of the computer stuff, but it's
I don't know. It's dry. It really is. Like one of my favorite TV
yeah, it was
series.
very
ever.
dry.
One of my favorite TV series ever. There were only 3 seasons, and it was British, so the seasons are like 6 episodes or whatever. It was a show about spies during the Cold War, set in the late 70s, early 80s, and it is a no money video shot on video inside, shot on film outside, old British television called The Sandbaggers, and it is one of the best written, most exciting. Successful espionage story type of things I've seen, and this is much more money behind it, and it's more handsomely mounted, but that dry tone where it feels really real, and the stakes are real, and people are responsible for what they've done.
Yeah, that's a good
It's
point.
very satisfying storytelling.
Yeah, all the
And
scientists in
you know,
here, they were all. It was all about the science. Even when she
I
comes
wanna-
out.
Right.
And the computer's
They've
looking
achieved
for
something without considering the moral stuff. Well, I mean, that's Jurassic Park. That's lots and lots of other things.
He's the computer's looking for Dr. Forbin, who's in Rome. And,
right.
And she has to come out and say, he's not here. Humans need sleep. It's all based in science. She goes, the body needs some sleep. And then eventually the computer kind of figures out that something's not right. I don't understand.
Right.
I'm telling you, it's like when WarGames in that scene where it's going, where is the blah blah blah, and you can't lie to the computer. The computer figures it out. I just liked all the characters were based in science, and they were very matter of fact. They knew what they were dealing with. There was no like crazy drama about what's going on here. We have to solve it. You're watching people get some emotion when people get nuked and cities are getting blown up.
It's upsetting.
That's upsetting. But wow. I know I'm going overboard. I'm sorry.
Don't apologize for your enthusiasm.
I could not
Let's
wait
wrap
to-
up. You cannot wait to discuss this.
I couldn't
Well, good.
wait. And
Good.
I haven't felt that way about any of these. And this one just hit me just square in the
Well,
face.
good.
So, yeah.
I'm thrilled to hear it.
Yeah.
Let's wrap up this discussion
Right.
with one more thing. Apparently, they have been trying to remake this for quite some time.
Oh wow.
If you Google the name of the movie and remake, you'll see over the years, going back, to I think the most recent article that popped up was 2013. Although I'm sure the rights are still there with Universal. Various screenwriters connected with other big sci-fi projects like Men in Black, things like that, have been hired and written drafts. I don't know what the current state of the remake is. It's almost like, how would they do it and either not screw it up, or would they make it a period piece? Because the idea of a computer that controls everything, I mean, that's been done on a more modern way in all these movies that descended from it to varying degrees of success. Right. I would be curious to see it. I don't know that I want them to make it. And so far, they haven't cracked it yet. So go out and see Colossus, the Forbin Project now. It's available on disc. And
is it streaming? I think it's streaming.
I don't know that it's streaming anywhere. It's it's part of Universal's catalog.
I think it's. Let me just check real quick. I thought it was streaming because I went to look for it, and I had it on Laserdisc, so I didn't need to stream. And like I said,
I was hoping that your
Laserdisc double feature
would still
with
work.
Silent Running, which I guess I got to go watch now because, holy cow!
Well, that's another cheery 70s sci-fi.
I know.
So
it's
enjoy.
I think it's available. Oh no, that's what it says. Oops, we couldn't find any streaming offers, so no.
Yeah.
And you have a Blu-ray of this one?
I have the Shout Factory Blu-ray.
Shout Factory.
And I was concerned. I said, I hope Ralph's Laserdisc plays because it's 900 years old and they can rot. But you said it was good.
So baby flipped. It flipped on the B side. It woke me up when it flipped, so I had to go back and watch some more stuff. I'm not gonna lie. I slept because I was watching it late, but I knew I missed some stuff, and I woke up this morning and I watched the whole second half again because I wanted to. I just wanted to revel in this thing.
So
I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm being like way over, but this movie was fantastic.
Good. I'm glad you enjoyed
Joseph
it.
Sargent, man. I other than Jaws: The Revenge, I got because he did a lot of great stuff. I don't know what was going on with Jaws: The Revenge, but God, this was amazing. So good job, and I appreciate it. And I'm gonna be like I'm gonna push this film on people because I think more people need to see this one. It's 1970. Think about that, 1970.
It's 51 years old,
and it's prescient to this day. Like there's things happening in that film that you can go, I heard that 6 months ago. I heard that same thing said by somebody 6 months ago.
I would say it's a prescient film that has created a lot of tropes. And
thank you.
That's a compliment.
That's
a compliment.
It's done both. All right. Now it's time for 2 movies, 4 words. There's one, right? And there's another one. All right. Jeez, girl in both these. Oh, you're getting tricky now. Girl experiment teeth death. Rescue girl secret stairs. I'm going to go the top one. Girl experiment teeth death. I'm hoping it's what I think it is.
What do you think it is?
I don't know. I was hoping it was teeth, but
it is not.
Okay.
Because that is an excellent film, and we can talk about that another time.
Okay.
This is a film that I don't believe that you've seen. I don't know if you've heard of it or not. We just watched the big movie of the weekend was Army of the Dead, which is, among other things, a zombie movie and not good.
Kind of disappointing.
And this week you'll be watching The Girl with All the Gifts, starring Gemma Arterton and Glenn Close and Patty Considine. And it is a zombie movie based on a book from 2015, 2016, maybe a little.
Wait, that's our girl from Disappearance of Alice.
The girl for the lead from The Disappearance of Alice Creed.
And Glenn Close and Patty who? Patty
Considine.
I love that guy. Oh my God.
A lot of stuff.
Oh.
And it's a great zombie film. It also, the thing with Army of the Dead is they basically, I think Zack Snyder said, I'm gonna do something different. We'll see how far the audience will let me go.
Right.
And this movie also does some stuff that's different, and I think it works. And I'm a big fan of the movie and the book, and it's one of those things like Kick-Ass, where they wrote the comic book and the movie at the same time. So they were writing the book and the movie at the same time, and they both work. So The Girl with All the Gifts is your homework for next week, which I think I'll have to double check. I think it's streaming on Prime right now, but it is much
it's called
more,
The Girl with
much
All
more
the
readily
Gifts.
available. The Girl with All the Gifts.
The Girl. I'm going to write this down.
And I would urge you and anyone considering watching it before next week with considering the movie, don't read anything about it.
Okay.
The less that you know, the better. And if all you know is it's a zombie movie, then that's fine.
That's fair. All right. But before we go, you must watch Colossus, the Forbin Project. Please.
And you know what else? You know what else you must do, right?
Subscribe.
You must like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
And hit the notification
Please
button.
do.
And please leave comments. If you watch Colossus the Forbin Project and you hate it, I would love to know why.
Yeah,
because
we don't
people
just
do
comment.
have very strong opinions about the movie, and I'd love to hear from people about it.
So I think Zoom
All right,
watched
bud.
this and go, I think we need to try that. This is thing where people can look at it. It's amazing. So Drew, nice job. I appreciate it. I don't know if I'll get this excited about all films, but this one definitely charged me up. So
Special is special. I'm glad you liked it.
awesome. And I can't wait for the next one. All right. Have a safe week.
Thank you, too.
Talk to you soon.
You got it, buddy. See you on Zoom.
Let's go. Turn the thing around. Let's go.